The sun was setting over the Pacific, painting the clouds in shades of gold and crimson when the first ships appeared. They didn't make a sound at first, just a sudden shift in the sky, like the atmosphere itself had paused. Then, one by one, the Council's ships descended into Earth's orbit. They were immense, far larger than any human vessel, gleaming in the fading sunlight. Some were as long as cities, with angular edges that seemed to cut through the blackness of space. Humanity had seen satellites, probes, even massive space stations, but this was on a scale no one could comprehend. In the command center of the United Nations Space Defense Headquarters in Geneva, alarms rang. Lights flashed and screens filled with tracking data. Commander Elias Ward stood at the center of it all, his face pale but his posture steady. Years of training had prepared him for crises, but nothing like this. "They're surrounding Earth," said Lieutenant Mara Singh, her voice tight as she spoke over the comms. "All geostationary orbits, all polar paths, every satellite trajectory. It's total coverage." Elias didn't reply immediately. He observed the screen, seeing a pattern in the ship's formation. "This isn't an attack," he finally said. "It's containment." "Containment?" Mara frowned. "For what?" "Us," Elias said. "They're watching, waiting, studying." Across the globe, news channels scrambled to report the event. People stepped into streets pointing upward, staring at the night sky where the fleet had gathered. Social media exploded. Scientists, politicians, and ordinary citizens speculated. Were they here to warn, to conquer, or something else entirely? Elias and his team had no answers. The Council, a galactic alliance known across many star systems for its strict rules and military precision, had never contacted humanity before. Now their fleet was here, and the entire planet was under observation. The first attempts at communication failed. Earth's strongest signals, coded in every frequency humans had mastered, were met with silence. No replies, no broadcasts, not even interference. The Council ships were intelligent, aware, and seemingly indifferent. For days, humanity watched and waited. Military analysts debated strategies. Some called for aggression, strikes against the Council fleet, but Elias knew the risk. Even a single Council ship could obliterate entire continents. He looked out over the command center, his mind racing. Humanity had technology, courage, and creativity. But how would it measure against centuries of interstellar advancement? Then on the fifth day, the ships moved closer, slowly, deliberately, forming a complete ring around Earth's orbit. The ring was perfect, unbroken, casting faint shadows on the planet below. Satellites began detecting strange energy signatures. Power grids flickered in distant cities. Atmospheric readings fluctuated in ways scientists could not explain. "Commander," Mara said, urgency in her voice. "They're doing something. I don't know what, but our instruments are going crazy." Elias nodded, biting his lip. He had felt it too, a vibration in the air, subtle, almost imperceptible, yet unsettling. The planet seemed different, alive somehow, as if reacting to the fleet's presence. Then came the shock. Without warning, the entire fleet vanished. One moment they were there, surrounding Earth like silent sentinels. The next, nothing. No ships, no traces. It was as if the universe had swallowed them whole. Satellites found no energy signatures, no debris. The skies were empty, serene, as if the arrival had been a dream. The command center was silent. Analysts stared at their screens, mouths open. Mara's hands shook as she whispered, "They're gone." "How is that possible?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He moved to the main window, looking at the horizon. Humanity had been given a glimpse of something far beyond their understanding. And now it was gone. The world reacted in different ways. Some celebrated, thinking the threat was over. Others panicked, fearing the disappearance meant something worse. Conspiracy theories spread faster than news reports. Governments went into lockdown, unsure if this had been a warning, a test, or the prelude to something unimaginable. In the quiet of his private quarters, Elias thought about what he had witnessed. For days, humanity had faced an impossible reality. Beings that could encircle the planet with ease and vanish without a trace. And now questions lingered in his mind. Why were they here? Why did they leave? And what had they seen in humanity that made them act this way? He was not the only one asking these questions. Across the globe, scientists worked tirelessly, decoding patterns, analyzing energy fluctuations, and studying anomalies left by the fleet's presence. One discovery stood out. A faint, lingering signal like a whisper in the cosmic background, repeating in intervals too regular to be natural. Dr. Lyra Chen, a young astrophysicist, led the analysis. She noticed a pattern in the repetition, mathematical precise. A message, she said, voice trembling. I can't decipher it yet, but it's definitely intentional. Elias listened to her carefully. Do you think it's a warning? I don't know, Lyra admitted. But whatever it is, it's meant for us. The fleet didn't come here just to observe. They wanted to send something. And maybe they left it behind. The world did not know what to make of it. Nations debated forming alliances, pooling resources, and preparing for potential threats. Meanwhile, ordinary people wondered how the universe had changed in just a week. Fear and curiosity spread equally, but one feeling united everyone: awe. Humanity had seen beings who had mastered the stars. And for the first time, humans truly understood how small they were. Yet in that smallness there was potential. Elias remembered the lessons of history. Humanity had always faced impossible odds, from the earliest explorers crossing oceans to the inventors creating machines that seemed magical. Humans had thrived where others would fail, and now, the same courage, ingenuity, and persistence would be needed more than ever. He called a meeting with world leaders, scientists, and military advisors. On the screen before them, he said simply, "The council has come and gone. We do not know why, but we do know this: they saw us and they left something behind. We will not wait for answers. We will find them." Across the planet, similar messages rang out. Humanity united in a way never seen before, driven not by fear but by determination. The arrival of the Council fleet had been a warning, but it had also been a gift, a reminder that humans were capable of more than they realized. And so, missions were planned, ships readied, and minds sharpened. Humanity was about to step beyond the comfort of their home planet, driven by curiosity, courage, and the desire to prove that even in the vast universe, humans were a force to be reckoned with. As night fell over Geneva, Elias stood again by the window. Stars twinkled above, infinite and silent. Somewhere among them, the Council fleet drifted, or had it already discovered a path beyond comprehension? Either way, humanity would not wait for the unknown to return. They would go forward, together, stronger and braver than ever before. The stage was set. The universe had noticed Earth, and now humanity had noticed the universe back. The world had barely begun to recover from the shock of the Council fleet's sudden arrival and mysterious disappearance. Humanity had proven its resilience, but questions hung in the air like clouds that refused to clear. Scientists examined the faint signals the ships had left behind. Governments debated strategies for defense and diplomacy, and ordinary people went about their lives, still staring at the sky, wondering if the aliens would return. Commander Elias Ward was one of the few who didn't look up in hope. He looked down at his work. The signals had grown stronger in the last few days, emerging in a strange pattern that seemed impossible to ignore. And they weren't coming from the stars this time. They were coming from beneath the ice of Antarctica. Elias watched the holographic map in the command center as Dr. Lyra Chen, the young astrophysicist, traced the origin of the signals. Her fingers moved swiftly across the projection, highlighting irregularities in the energy patterns. "It's faint," she said, "but it's there. And it's consistent. This is not natural, it's a message. Or a beacon." A silence fell over the room. Everyone understood what she meant. A beacon from beneath the ice suggested that the Council, or something related to it, had left something on Earth intentionally. Something that humans had not noticed. Until now, Elias's voice broke the quiet. "We leave immediately. Prepare a team. I want the best minds and the strongest crew." Within hours, the Earth's first fully equipped research and exploration team assembled at a military transport base in southern Chile. Among them were Lyra Chen, geophysicists, exo-engineers, and a specialized security squad led by Elias himself. Their transport jet lifted off into the stormy Antarctic night, engines roaring against the icy winds below. The journey across the frozen continent was harsh. Visibility was low and temperatures dropped far below freezing. The team relied on autonomous drones to scout ahead, mapping hidden crevasses and unstable ice formations. For hours, they moved silently across the frozen landscape, the only sounds the crunch of snow beneath their boots and the occasional buzz of drone engines. Finally, they reached the source, The signal originated from a remote region near the Ross ice shelf, where thick ice layers had remained untouched for millennia. Lyra's instruments glowed as she scanned the area. "It's coming from below," she said. "The energy signature is massive. Whatever it is, it's not just a small device. It's enormous." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Then we drill." The team set up a mobile drilling platform, one capable of reaching hundreds of meters below the ice. Days passed as they bored into the frozen depths, encountering layers of ancient ice, frozen water pockets, and unknown minerals. The signals grew stronger as they approached the source. The hum was almost audible, vibrating in the bones of everyone present. Finally, the drill broke through. The metal casing beneath the ice revealed a smooth black surface, glimmering faintly with blue light. It was circular, perfectly symmetrical, and unlike anything humans had ever built. The team stepped back as the surface pulsed rhythmically as though alive. This isn't human technology," whispered one of the engineers. "No," Lyra agreed. "It's beyond human comprehension. It's council technology." Elias took a deep breath. "Then we approached carefully. No assumptions. No mistakes." They activated the external interface. As they did, the blue light intensified, forming vertical beams that reached upward, piercing the Antarctic night like silent towers of energy. The ice trembled slightly beneath their feet. For a moment, everything seemed to hold its breath. Then, a blinding white light enveloped them. When Elias opened his eyes, he was no longer on Earth. The team had been transported, or perhaps pulled, into a place beyond human reality. The floor beneath them was metallic, smooth, and cold. The air smelled faintly of ozone. Around them, the walls glowed with faint blue runes, symbols that twisted and shimmered like liquid metal. "Where are we?" whispered one of the soldiers, his voice trembling. Lyra's scanner hummed as she examined the readings. We're not on Earth anymore," she said slowly. "Coordinates indicate space, but not in our time. This place exists outside normal reality." Through a large observation window, Elias saw a massive structure drifting silently. It was unmistakably a council ship. Its hull was scarred, burned, and twisted, as though it had endured unimaginable forces. The sight sent a shiver down his spine. Humanity had glimpsed the power of the council before, but this was a scale of destruction beyond comprehension. "Are there survivors?" Elias asked. Lyra scanned the ship. "I don't know. There's no life signature detectable, only faint temporal echoes." "Temporal echoes," a soldier repeated, frowning. "Fragments of beings trapped between moments," Lyra explained. "The crew didn't die, but they exist in a state between here and somewhere else. Something went wrong with their technology." The team cautiously approached the ship, docking at an airlock that slid open silently. Inside, the corridors were dark, glowing faintly with the alien blue light. Symbols moved subtly along the walls, changing with every glance. Elias led the group forward, rifles raised, every sense alert. Suddenly, the air shifted. A figure shimmered down the corridor, an outline of a being flickering between visibility and invisibility. It was humanoid in shape, yet not fully human. It moved without sound, suspended in the space between dimensions. "It's a temporal echo of the crew," Lyra whispered, eyes wide. "They're aware, but trapped." The figure spoke, voice breaking like static. "You carry the key." Elias stepped forward cautiously. "The key? What key?" "What happened to your fleet?" "The fold. Experiment. Failed. Reached. You..." Then the figure dissipated, leaving behind silence and a faint glow that pulsed once before fading completely. Back on the frozen platform outside the ship, the team gathered. Elias's face was set, determination etched into every line. "We need to understand what this beacon does," he said. "Whatever happened to the council fleet, it's not over. That device under the ice, if it activates again, it could change everything." Lyra nodded, eyes on her instruments. "The energy signature matches the one we detected when the fleet was in orbit. If it connects them to this fold, it could have been a test of their technology or a trap. We don't know yet." Elias took a deep breath. "Then we prepare. We will study it, understand it, and control it if we can. Humanity cannot afford to be passive. This is our chance to learn, and to prove that we are more than what they expected." The team worked through the Antarctic night, setting up protective fields and monitoring instruments. Outside, the ice was quiet once more, hiding the greatest secret humanity had ever uncovered. But beneath it, the beacon pulsed gently, waiting. Somewhere beyond time and space, the echoes of the Council fleet drifted, trapped and aware. They had underestimated humanity, thinking Earth would be a mere observer. They did not realize that humans, when faced with the unknown, would rise to meet it. And rise they would. For in the face of impossible odds, humanity had courage, ingenuity, and perseverance. They had survived the fleet's arrival. They had discovered the beacon. And now they were ready to step into the unknown, guided by curiosity, determination, and the unshakable belief that no force, no matter how advanced, could underestimate the spirit of humankind. The pulse beneath the ice continued, steady and unwavering. And somewhere far beyond comprehension, something stirred. The stage was set. Humanity had been tested, and they were ready to answer. The beacon beneath Antarctica pulsed steadily, casting an eerie blue light across the frozen expanse. Inside their temporary research station, Commander Elias Ward and his team monitored the energy readings. The phenomenon was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Every instrument suggested the Council fleet was not gone. It had been displaced, trapped in some kind of temporal fold. Dr. Lyra Chen's hands flew across her console. "The fold is expanding," she said, voice tight with excitement and worry. "It's not just under the ice anymore. It's connecting to Earth's orbit." Elias frowned. "You mean the fleet might come back?" "Not just the fleet," Lyra said slowly. "Everything they touched, their technology, their signals, even parts of their ships might return. But not in the same form. They could appear anywhere, anytime, in a state we don't fully understand." Outside, the wind howled across the ice as if Earth itself was warning them. The team worked quickly, setting up containment fields and energy dampeners around the beacon. Satellites in orbit detected a faint shimmer where the fleet had once been. Slowly, the shimmer grew stronger, coalescing into visible forms. "They're coming back," Lyra said, pointing at the screen. "All of them. Or at least pieces of them." Elias gripped his tablet. "Then we must be ready. Weapons on standby, shields up, and no direct contact until we understand what's happening." Hours passed. The team watched in tense silence as a ghostly fleet began to reappear above the Antarctic ice. Ships flickered in and out like images projected through water. Their forms were incomplete, distorted, hulls warped, energy fields pulsing irregularly. Yet there was no aggression in their movement, only a strange, silent curiosity. Lyra studied the readings. "The ships are semi-stable," she said. "They exist partly in our reality and partly outside it. If we can stabilize the fold, we might communicate with them." Elias nodded. "Do it. Carefully. We need to know why they came and why they disappeared." The first contact attempt involved projecting a series of light signals toward the nearest vessel. At first, nothing happened. Then a ripple of blue light ran across the ghost ship's hull, responding to their pulses. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was a response. "They understand," Lyra whispered. "They can perceive us. They're aware." The next phase was riskier. Lyra guided a drone equipped with sensors and cameras toward one of the semi-visible ships. As it approached, the drone's readings went wild. Energy spikes surged and the drone flickered between existence and non-existence. "It's the fold interfering with its reality," Lyra said urgently. "Pull it back!" But before they could react, the drone stabilized near a section of the ship, capturing images of the interior. The corridors were familiar, like the ships they had observed before, but twisted as if time itself had been stretched. Shadows of the crew moved in the halls, flickering in and out of view. "It's them," Elias said. "The Council crew. They're trapped in the fold." A sudden sound filled the research station, a harmonic resonance, low and vibrating. Everyone froze. Lyra analyzed it immediately. "It's a message, or a warning. They're trying to communicate, but not in words. In patterns. In energy." Elias stepped closer to the console. "Can you translate it?" I can try," Lyra said, eyes scanning the data. "It's complicated. The fold is merging their time with ours. Their messages are layered across dimensions. But I think I understand part of it. They didn't leave Earth willingly. Something malfunctioned. The experiment, it failed, and now they're reaching out through the fold." The realization sank in. The Council fleet had not vanished. They were alive, trapped, and possibly as confused by their situation as humanity was. The beacon under the ice had been a link, an anchor connecting the two realities. Elias turned to his team. Then we have a choice. We can either study this from a distance or we can try to help them stabilize the fold. Either way, it's dangerous, and either way, this is our chance to show what humanity can do. The decision was unanimous. They would engage the beacon, risk the unknown, and attempt to stabilize the fold. The team suited up, entering protective exosuits equipped with environmental shields and energy stabilizers. Elias led the way, Lyra following closely with her instruments. Outside, the semi-visible fleet shimmered against the dark sky, now partially solid, partially ghostly. As they approached the beacon, the pulse of energy grew stronger, vibrating through the ground and the air. Elias felt it in his chest, a steady rhythm that seemed to sync with his heartbeat. He raised a hand and the pulse dimmed slightly, a sign the fold was responding to human touch. Lyra adjusted her instruments, sending precise harmonic frequencies into the beacon. The air shimmered, and for a moment everything froze. Then from the ghostly fleet, the semi-visible forms began to stabilize. Ships that had been flickering now appeared whole, though faintly transparent. Lights blinked on hulls that had been dim. Corridors within the ships no longer twisted and warped, they became real, accessible. "We did it," Lyra said, her voice trembling with excitement. "We're stabilizing the fold." Suddenly, one of the council ships emitted a bright pulse, sending a wave of energy across the ice. Elias braced himself, but instead of danger, the wave carried clarity. A figure appeared on the ship's observation deck, human in form but alien in features. It moved slowly, deliberately, and addressed them. "You have bridged the fold," the figure said in a melodic voice. "We owe you understanding. We were unprepared. The experiment failed, but you have corrected some part." Elias's heart raced. "Why did your fleet surround Earth? Why come without warning?" The figure paused. "Observation, evaluation, you are unique. Your species, resilience, creativity, courage, unexpected. We sought to learn, not conquer." Lyra recorded everything, barely daring to breathe. Elias's mind raced. Humanity had been tested and had passed. The Council had underestimated them, assuming Earthlings would panic or fail. Instead, humans had shown intelligence, courage, and initiative. "But why vanish?" Elias asked. "To maintain stability of the fold," the figure replied. "Our presence created instability, unintended consequences. We withdrew to prevent damage to your planet. You bridged the gap." Elias nodded slowly. "Then we are not just observers. We are participants." The figure inclined its head. "Yes, participants. Your actions proved adaptability. Remarkable. The Council, now aware humans, must be respected." A hush fell over the research team. Respect, recognition, something the Council had never given any species lightly. Lyra whispered, "Commander, they're acknowledging humanity. They're impressed." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we've done more than survive. We've earned a place in the galaxy's consciousness." The energy pulse from the beacon stabilized completely. The fleet remained in orbit but no longer flickered. They were solid, present, yet peaceful. The link between Earth and the fold was secure, and humanity had proven itself capable of engaging with forces far beyond their prior understanding. As dawn broke over Antarctica, casting a pink glow across the ice, Elias looked at the horizon. Humanity had faced the impossible. They had confronted a fleet of beings whose technology and understanding surpassed anything known. And they had succeeded, not by force, but by courage, ingenuity, and resolve. The world would never be the same. Earth had been noticed, tested, and recognized. And humanity, for the first time, knew that they could face the stars with confidence, intelligence, and unity. The beacon continued to pulse beneath the ice, a reminder that the universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges. But it was also full of possibilities, and humanity was ready. Earth had changed. The arrival and sudden disappearance of the Council fleet had shaken the planet to its core. And yet, after months of uncertainty, humanity had emerged stronger. Leaders, scientists, and explorers had come together like never before, sharing knowledge, technology, and resources. Commander Elias Ward stood atop the observation deck of the Antarctic Research Station. Outside, the sky shimmered with auroras that seemed unusually vivid, almost alive. He looked down at the beacon beneath the ice, now stabilized, pulsing steadily in rhythm with the planet itself. Dr. Lyra Chen joined him, her instruments in hand, scanning the energy signature. "It's incredible," she said softly. "The fold isn't just stabilized, it's integrated. The beacon is now part of Earth's energy field. It's almost like the planet itself recognizes it." Elias nodded, pride swelling in his chest. "And the fleet?" "They remain in orbit," Lyra replied. "Solid, stable, and silent, but they're watching. Not in hostility, but in observation. Almost like guardians." The world had learned from the Council. Humanity had been tested and, against odds that had seemed impossible, had risen to the challenge. They had navigated alien technology, stabilized a temporal fold, and even interacted with a fleet that dwarfed any human imagination. News of humanity's success spread across the globe. Governments, corporations, and independent scientists began working together, sharing discoveries that had once been kept secret. Energy sources were refined, faster-than-light propulsion was studied, and communication systems improved. Humanity had been forced to evolve, and it was thriving, yet not all challenges were solved. The beacon beneath the ice was a reminder that Earth was no longer isolated. The fold connected them to the stars in ways they did not fully understand. Temporal echoes of the Council fleet remained, flickering between dimensions, reminding humanity that the universe held powers they had only begun to glimpse. One evening, as Elias and Lyra reviewed the latest scans, a new anomaly appeared. A small vessel emerged from the fold, materializing gently above the Antarctic ice. Unlike the massive Council ships, it was sleek and small, almost like a scout. The craft hovered silently, its lights pulsing in gentle blue and silver. Elias felt a familiar surge of tension. "They're sending a message," he said. Lyra tapped her instruments, decoding the signals. The craft's energy patterns were remarkably intelligent, deliberate. Finally, a holographic figure projected above the craft, humanoid, serene, and unmistakably Council in origin. "You have done well, humans," the figure said. Its voice was melodic, calm, and precise. "Your courage, ingenuity, and cooperation have been observed. You are ready to join the greater community of intelligent species. But this is only the beginning." Elias exchanged a glance with Lyra. "Join? What do you mean?" The holographic figure raised a hand, and a map of nearby star systems appeared in the air. "Your species has potential beyond what was predicted. Your world is now part of a network. The beacon you stabilized will serve as a link, a bridge between your planet and the galaxy. It will allow communication, observation, and eventually travel beyond your solar system." Lyra's eyes widened. "So we can reach the stars?" "Yes," the figure said, "but only as a species capable of responsibility. Knowledge, wisdom, and courage must guide you. The Council has watched, and now we observe with confidence. You have passed the first trial." Elias felt a mixture of pride and awe. Humanity had been tested by beings whose technology dwarfed their imagination, and they had succeeded. But the responsibility was immense. This was no longer just about survival on Earth. It was about survival and growth in the universe. The Council's hologram faded, leaving behind a small device, an artifact of alien design, sleek and glowing. Lyra examined it closely. "It's a data core," she said, "full of knowledge, mathematics, physics, propulsion, and information about interstellar civilizations. We have so much to learn." Elias held the device carefully. "Then we begin. Humanity will not waste this chance. We've been given an opportunity to step into the stars, and we will be ready." In the months that followed, humanity transformed. The beacon beneath Antarctica became the heart of a new global network. Scientists worked alongside engineers, sharing discoveries in energy, propulsion, and communication. Nations collaborated instead of competing, driven by the understanding that survival in the universe required unity. Training programs prepared astronauts and explorers for missions beyond the solar system. Humans designed ships capable of navigating the fold, building prototypes inspired by the Council's technology. The lessons learned from the Ghost Fleet guided every decision. Respect for the unknown, patience with complex systems, and above all, confidence in human ingenuity. Elias oversaw the first interstellar navigation trials, and Lyra led research on temporal folds. Together, they coordinated a team of the brightest minds on Earth, each aware that the next step would define humanity's place in the galaxy. One clear night, Aaliyah stood outside the station looking up at the stars. The Council fleet shimmered faintly in orbit, now stable and silent. Somewhere out there, alien eyes watched, not with threat but with recognition. He spoke quietly to himself. "We've survived the impossible, and we're just beginning." The beacon pulsed steadily, a reminder of the trials humanity had faced, and beneath it, in the quiet ice, the energy of the fold hummed softly, waiting for the next connection, the next leap, the next journey. The Ghost Fleet, once trapped in temporal limbo, now coexisted with humans, not as conquerors, but as witnesses to what humanity could achieve. The Council had tested Earth, and Earth had risen to the challenge. Across the globe, ordinary people looked up at the night sky with renewed wonder. Children imagined worlds beyond their own, inspired by the stories of courage and discovery. Scientists dreamed of new inventions. Leaders envisioned cooperation on a scale never before seen. Humanity had been tested, and humanity had grown. And in the silence of space, the Council observed with quiet satisfaction. They had underestimated humans once. They would not underestimate them again, for humanity had proven it was more than a fragile species on a small blue planet. It had courage, intelligence, creativity, and unity. It could face the impossible, explore the unknown, and rise above challenges that no one else might endure. And so, as dawn broke across the Antarctic ice, painting the horizon in colors more vivid than anyone had ever seen, humanity stood ready to explore, ready to learn, ready to face the universe not as a spectator but as a participant. The dawn of humanity had truly begun. The stars above were no longer distant. They were within reach, and Earth's people would reach for them together, united and unstoppable. The sun rose over Earth's cities, painting the skyscrapers with golden light. People went about their daily lives, unaware that far above, in orbit, a secret council of powerful beings watched them closely. This council, known only to themselves and a handful of elites on Earth, had a plan, one that could control every aspect of human life. But their plan was flawed, and they had underestimated humanity's creativity and resilience. On the ground in a quiet city park, a young scientist named Lena Carter was already noticing strange anomalies in the environment. Machines she had designed to monitor energy waves were picking up unusual signals from space. Lena frowned as she adjusted her equipment, unaware that she was observing the very signals sent by the Council to begin their secret experiment. Meanwhile, in the Council's orbiting station, the leaders gathered around a large holographic table. Each figure was cloaked in shimmering robes, their faces hidden behind masks of silver and gold. The Council leader, a tall figure named Varric, spoke with calm authority. "Phase 1 is complete," Varric said. "Our signals have reached the planetary network. Soon humanity will unknowingly follow our design." But not all members were confident. Mira, a younger Council member, whispered, "They may not be as predictable as we think. Humans have imagination. They adapt quickly." Varric waved her concern away. "Imagination is irrelevant. By the time they understand, it will be too late. Our control will be absolute." Back on Earth, Lena's equipment began to behave strangely. Lights blinked, and the screen flashed a pattern she could not understand. A sudden spark from her instrument startled her, and she stumbled back. What is this?" she muttered. Her curiosity overpowered her fear. Lena knew something extraordinary was happening, something that could change the world forever. At the same time, news outlets around the globe began reporting strange phenomena. Energy surges appeared in remote towns. Animals behaved unusually. Weather patterns shifted for a moment in ways that scientists could not explain. Humanity sensed that something was off, but no one could see the real cause, an invisible hand guiding these events from orbit. One night, Lena received a strange encrypted message on her personal device. It contained only a set of coordinates and the phrase, "The truth is above." Intrigued, she decided to investigate. She didn't know it yet, but this message was a warning from a hidden group of humans who had already discovered the Council's plans. Meanwhile, the Council celebrated their apparent success. "Soon humanity will follow our guidance blindly," said Varric, raising his hands as holographic maps of the Earth displayed lines connecting every city. "No rebellion, no resistance. Control is within our grasp." But Varric's confidence was about to be challenged. Lena, driven by curiosity and courage, managed to track the source of the signals. Following the coordinates from the message, she discovered a hidden facility in a remote mountain range. The building was old, abandoned to the public, but it hummed with life inside. Lights blinked along the walls. Machines whispered in soft mechanical tones, and screens displayed the movements of satellites in orbit. Inside, Lena met Kai, a former council technician turned whistleblower. Kai explained that the council intended to manipulate human thoughts subtly, using energy signals to influence decisions, behaviors, and even dreams. They think humans are predictable, Kai said. They don't understand our creativity, our resilience, our spirit. Lena listened in awe. But how can we stop them? She asked. Kai smiled faintly. We don't stop them with force. We stop them with ingenuity. We show humans what is happening before it's too late. That night, Lena returned home with a heavy mind. She looked out at the city lights, feeling both small and powerful. Small because she was just one human. Powerful because one human could make a difference. The council thought they could control her world, but they had underestimated something fundamental: humanity's ability to resist oppression and create solutions in the face of impossible odds. As Lena fell asleep, her dreams were filled with strange visions, shimmering lights in orbit, mysterious signals, and an endless sea of possibilities. She realized that the story of humanity was about to enter a new chapter, one that the council could not foresee. And high above, in the council station, Varric's confidence began to show cracks. A minor system failure interrupted one of their energy transmissions. For a fleeting moment, he hesitated. He had not anticipated that humans might discover the signals so quickly. Mira noticed his pause and leaned closer. Perhaps the humans are not so predictable, she said softly. Varric's eyes narrowed. We will see. Phase 2 begins soon. We cannot fail. But somewhere on Earth, Lena and Kai prepared to challenge the Council's plan. They had no idea how many others would join them, but they knew this. Humanity was never meant to be controlled. And this was only the beginning. As the first part of this story closes, the world is on the brink of an unseen conflict. A battle not fought with weapons, but with intelligence, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. The Council believed their control was inevitable. But Earth had other ideas.